devices together. Okay. Now, so where will you connect? There will be a dedicated slot here. It's called NIC here and here as well, which is called network interface card. Network, we know, network, it's a connectivity between two machines or more machines. Interface, entry or exit point. So any network traffic that is coming inside or outside from this machine will go through this adapter only. The same, if you have a laptop, you can check the internet cable where we plug in. That's called NIC card. Okay. Network interface card. The traffic will flow through the respective card in and out of that adapter. The other end also will be connected to the same NIC card on the another machine. Once you connect, this much is not only enough to make the communication possible across between these two machines. Okay, so we'll see. Once okay, network interface card, a cable is connected between two network interface cards. So these machines are connected now. Now still it's not possible to send the data between these two machines. Next one. So when if you see this NIC card, there will be one address called MAC address. Only computer students might be aware of it. Media access control. MAC address, it's a hexadecimal format. If you see, open command prompt of your laptop, type get MAC. You will get the MAC address of your NIC card on the laptop. Every laptop has one NIC adapter, right, where we connect the internet cable. So that adapter comes with an inbuilt address called MAC address, media access control. Okay, so here this is the address. Space here. It will be like this. Who has entered this address to that respective adapter? It is from the manufacturer itself. Okay. The manufacturer itself will inject this code. This code contains two parts like this. It will be splitted like this. They follow IEEE standards. IEEE standards says like this. The first part of the address is company code. Which is assigned by IEEE to the organization who is manufacturing this adapter. Okay, the company who is manufacturing the NIC cards should be approved by the IEEE. So once they get IEEE approval, they will get this code. First half of the code is the company code. Second half of the code is serial number they manufacture. Serial number of the device. Okay, so if that company manufacturing like first device, it will say like 01, next 02, 03 like that, serial number. So it's this way they manage it's uniquely across worldwide. So if there is a different company who is manufacturing the NIC cards, their company code will be different. Okay, so that means the first half of the code will never match anywhere. If the two adapters are coming from two different companies, so it will not match at all. This company code will be same from for all the adapters which are manufactured by one company, because that's one company they follow. They use the same code for all the devices they manufacture. This address may match somewhere, but this address will not match. this, let's say this company has, let's say company 1 manufactured an adapter and named it as 01. Serial number of the device is 1. Another company manufactures one more adapter and their serial number is also 1, but the company code will be different. Okay, that way it will not match anywhere in the world. It's a unique address. And we'll see the importance of this media access control, the MAC address, and the communication later. As of now, the addressing format is formed in such a way. Even the WWN we have discussed during storage, storage topic, it's also in the same format. They will also follow IEEE standards, first half of the company. The address will be longer than this one. This is smaller in length. WWN will be longer address, 2 times of this address. Okay. So this address, MAC address, is injected by the manufacturer who has manufactured this NIC card itself. Okay, both NIC cards has MAC address. The communication will happen based on the MAC address only. Okay, even if the MAC address is there, it is not only enough. Okay, still they will not be able to communicate together. We need to manually assign one address called IP address. Internet protocol address we have to manually assign here and also here as well. Okay, so next. So what is this IP address? Internet protocol address. As of now, IP version 4 we will discuss first. So in this internet protocol address, version 4 is 32-bit decimal address. So the very starting address will be all zeros. Next address 1, 2, 3, like this. Okay. So until 0.0.0.255. After that it will be 1, 1.0, 0.0.1.1. Next will be 0.0.1.2, like this. Again 0.0.1.255. The last address will be 1.255. Again it will go for 2.0. So the very last address will be all 255s. All zeros is the first address, all 255 are is the last address. Okay, first and last. There will be no negative numbers, numbers with minus. So there will not be any negative numbers and no numbers greater than 255. Okay. So there will be no 256 as well. If you try to enter any of this address on this NIC adapter outside this range, okay, the adapter even will not accept that address. Okay. It should be within this limits 0 to 255. That's what IEEE states. IP version 4 is this one, and this network adapters are already aware of it. It will accept address from this range only. If you try to enter any other number outside this range, it will not accept. anywhere in the between 256 or 250, more than greater than 256, 55 itself, it will not accept. Okay, then. So there will be lot of IP addresses. If you apply permutations and combinations, lot of IP addresses will be there. Okay. So for easy management of these IP addresses, they have segregated into multiple classes. Until 126.255.255.255, 127.0.0.0, the last address 127. These many classes are there. Okay, so this is class A. This is called loop back address. It's called class B, class C, class D, E. Okay. These many IP addresses are there. For easy management, they have segregated into multiple classes. Class A, B, C, D, E, up to E, they have segregated. Okay. So here from 0 to 126, there will be lot of IP addresses. Too many IP addresses, and this will be basically used for large scale organizations. There are large number of IP addresses are available. Basically, very huge organizations will use class A. Okay. And then loop back address. Let's say you have assigned an IP address to this machine. NIC card is the cable is functioning fine, computer is fine, MAC address, everything is there, but this adapter is not functioning, and you don't know what is the problem, either the problem with IP address or cable. Even you have changed the cable, still it is not working. Operating system is running fine, but network is not communicating. For some reason, network card is not functioning. So to test that network card, the IP protocol, whether it is really working fine or not here. Okay. So we will use 127 loopback address. So how to use it? Open command prompt. If I want to test IP protocol of my computer, whether it is working fine or not, type ping 127, any number in between that loopback address. You can test it out. Let's say I'll try this one only. So apart from 0 and 255, we have So any number, if you type, it will ping. When it is pinging like this, when you type a ping space the IP address from the loopback address, if it is replying with TTL, it's working fine. We will see again the interpretation of TTL, this overall ping command. Okay, it's working fine, IP protocol. So just to verify whether that IP protocol is working fine or not, so they have completely left this one range. 127 is completely wasted. Okay. Next, 128 to 191. So medium scale organizations will use some less number of IP addresses will be there. So that's why the medium scale companies will use. C, small scale organizations, very limited number of IP addresses. In our lab also, if you see, we'll see like always 192, 168. Okay, so it's from class C. Even if you see anywhere, even all the routers that comes to function with your like mobile, you connect with Wi-Fi router, right? Wi-Fi routers will have 192, 168 only. You will see why that is. They will be using 192, 168. This class D basically used for satellite communications, okay, for broadcasting and multicasting. Broadcasting, satellite communications. We will not directly use it. Okay. So few service providers, TV communication stations and all, they will use this one. And this one R&D, research and development on the IP addresses. It will be used for like a research and development on the IP addresses. Okay. Now our machines are instructed to accept an IP address from A, B and C only. These NIC cards are instructed to accept an address from A, B, C only. D, the normal RJ45 adapter will not accept. Address from E also it will not accept. These adapters will accept addresses from A, B and C only. Not from the loopback, not from broadcasting class D, not from class E as well. That's how the IEEE standards they follow. Okay. Now for easy management, they have segregated all these IP addresses and only class A, B, C are usable in the generic usage. D and E are special purpose. Okay. Now again these IP addresses class A, B and C will have two types. Okay. Public and private. Public IP address and private IP address. Public means which are connected to directly to the internet. So private IP addresses are connected within locally. Outside this small network, they will not work. Something like in our lab, we use 192.168.0.1 to and all. From the internet, we cannot reach them. They are reachable within this building only. Okay, within this small room only. Okay, in our lab only, they are accessible. They don't have direct communication to the internet. Okay, that's called private IP addresses. Private IP addresses cannot communicate with internet directly. Okay, public IP addresses which are connected directly in the internet. Okay, so if you have a laptop with public IP, you can directly connect to the internet. But how we are like we have not assigned any public IP to laptop, but still we are connected to the internet. How is that possible? We'll see that. Okay, later. Find public IP addresses which are connected in the network directly, internet directly, which are local, they are called private IP addresses. Now, which are all private IP addresses, which are all public IP addresses? Class A. So the entire 10 series is private IP. Rest all are public IPs. If any IP address starting with 10 is a private IP address from class A. Okay. Rest all are public IPs in that queue. So that means rest all IP address can directly communicate in the internet, connect to the internet. One 172.16.x means any address after this. In that x means any value there. Okay, can be anything. So this is private IP address and rest all are public IP addresses. Okay, 171, 173 also public IP addresses. Rest all from class B. I mean here. Okay, 128 to 191. Class C. 192.168.x.x. So anything after that are private IPs. Okay. That's why in our lab in Wi-Fi modems, if you connect to any Wi-Fi public Wi-Fi anywhere, Wi-Fi routers, if you see maximum 192.168 only. Once you connect your mobile to your Wi-Fi modem, just verify your IP address on your mobile or laptop. Okay, you will get an IP address like this. These are connected locally, small network within the LAN only. Rest all can communicate directly. But even though if you see my laptop here to verify the IP address of that machine, IP config 192.168.0. So this is means it has a private IP address. Then how I am able to connect to the Google as well, internet as well. Without internet, I cannot speak to you right from the remote location. We are connected via internet. You are also having private. I am also having private IP address. Then how we are able to connect to the internet? Okay. They do NATing. The Wi-Fi modem will be having a NATing mechanism. We'll see here. Here I am setting with my laptop. You are sitting in the remote location. We have internet connection. I am also connected to the internet. You are also connected to the internet via a Wi-Fi modem at your home at my location. Okay. Connected. These are Wi-Fi router. Either cable or Wi-Fi, whatever it is. Okay. You connected to Wi-Fi. From Wi-Fi router, your laptop is connected in such a way like this. Okay. Now, once you connect your laptop to Wi-Fi router, here it has a public IP. Otherwise, it cannot communicate to the internet. The same way here as well, you have a public IP, and here you have private IP on the laptops. Okay. Now, up to this Wi-Fi router, there is internet because they are directly connected with a public IP to the internet. And you don't have private IP address as of now. You will not get any internet here and here as well. Now, once you connect to Wi-Fi modem, what will happen? This Wi-Fi will have a small DHCP protocol. That means it will automatically, the other end, the one side it has public IP, right? Other side it has private IP as well. It will have a small DHCP protocol. It can serve up to 10 IPs or 15 IPs, depends on the, while purchasing the device itself, you need to check that how many devices parallelly you can connect. Basically, we will ask when purchasing that router, we will ask how many connections parallelly we can connect. He will say 5, 10, depends on the device. That means it has 5 private IP addresses also here. We will discuss what is that automatically, how machines will get IP address later. Okay. So this Wi-Fi router will, from this IP pool, it will have some 5 to 10 IPs private. Let's say 10 private IPs. Here also it will have some 10 or 15 private IPs. Wi-Fi routers. Okay. Now once you connect your laptop or mobile to Wi-Fi router, that Wi-Fi router will assign one private IP to this laptop. From this range, even though you have another private range, forget about it. It will assign one more private IP address. We don't need to worry about this private IP now. Okay. So it has assigned one private IP to this machine. Here also Wi-Fi router assigned one private IP to my laptop. Okay. That's what the address I am able to see here. 192.168.0.118. This is the private IP. I have other adapters. I'm not using any other. So now my laptop has private IP and your machine also has got private IP. Now this Wi-Fi router via this private IP will speak to the private IP edge on the other end, and this Wi-Fi router has a mechanism whichever has services available here on this edge with public IP, it can translate to these private IPs. Whatever the services are available here, it can translate from the public edge end to the private end. It will transmit the services. The internet services which are available up to here are now available on the private IP end as well. So that your laptop is getting the same services which are connected to public IP, which are available on the public IP. Understood? And if you want to see what is the public IP of this your computer, okay, you can open a browser, you can just type what is my IP as well. Here I can see this is a public IP which is assigned to my Wi-Fi router. Any laptop or any device which is connected to this router, all the 10 IPs it has, right? 10 machines can connect together at a time. If you search what is my IP, you will get the same public IP from that range only. Okay. From here, it will be different public IP. Okay. So like all the machines will show same public IP because they are all connected to the same connected to the internet via this public IP only. Fine. Clear? So how basically it works? We don't need to go that deep, but it's okay. Just for your understanding, you will be able to understand what is public IP now and what is private IP. Fine. Any question as of now? A machine assign. Coming to that point, anyway, we will assign IP address and we'll see that as well. Fine. So if you want to check public IP of your computer, you can in the browser you just type what is my IP. Here itself you will get your public IP address. Fine. This IPv4 address. Now we understood what is IP and what address our NIC will accept. Okay, our NIC will accept any IP address from A, B, and C only. Okay, public or private, both it will accept. Fine. So we'll see now. IP address is not only enough. Let's say you have assigned one class A IP address here, and here you have assigned class B IP address. They will not communicate together again. They are connected in the same network, but one has class A IP address, another one has class B IP address. They will not communicate together because it belongs to a different network. The NIC card will feel that it's a different network, and it will feel, even though they are connected together in the same network, they will feel they are in different network. This adapter will feel it's a different network. They will not communicate. Understood? Okay. Here also it should be same class. Then they will communicate. Okay. As a humans, we know like it's a class A and class B. Machines, how can they differentiate class A or B, or which network they belongs to or not? Okay. So they will identify based on a value called subnet mask. Okay. Based on a value called subnet mask. It defines basically which network a particular device belongs to. Okay. So here I'll give some default subnet mask. Class A. If you are taking an IP address from class A for your home lab, use this as subnet mask. Class B. If you are taking an class B IP address, use this one as subnet mask. When you are preparing your home lab, when you are connecting your laptop to a printer at your home, okay, use this one as a subnet mask. If you are picking an IP address from class C, the respective subnet mask you can take. Okay, you can choose any IP address, any private IP, not public IPs. I'm saying for home lab, you should always, within a private network, you should always use private IPs. If you are connected to internet, then only public IP will work. If you assign simply a public network, will not work, okay, without any internet. Okay, private IP addresses, any private IP from A, B, or C, you have to use subnet mask like this. If you are creating your home lab, in our lab also, we are using 192.168. So address is starting with 192. That means it belongs to class C, and it is private IP address 192.168. Class C private IP address. That's why we are using in our lab the subnet mask as this one. You see subnet mask. Subnet mask refers which network it belongs to. In real time, this is only for home labs, okay, and our in our lab. When you go to real time, when you join with some other team, the network administrator will give you this subnet mask. We don't need to worry about it. We don't need to worry about the IP address as well. Once you create a new ESXi machine or new virtual machine, network team will provide you the IP address, subnet mask, and there is another thing called gateway, both. So they will give the complete IP information. You don't need to worry about it. Okay. So they may give some different numbers also, something like here 194 or 254, something like anything. They have some formula, and based on that they will calculate it, subnetting. We don't need to go in depth about that as of now. If you know this much, what is subnet mask is more than enough. If you are pure network admin, you should know like how the subnetting works. Okay. Classes and default subnet mask in your home lab. No. Even IP and subnet mask is not only enough. They should know what is their gateway as well. Gateway in the sense entry or exit point of any network communication. Like interface. In networking terms, gateway means entry or exit point of a respective network. So this will also will be provided by the network team. They will give you IP, subnet mask and gateway. And we have, while assigning an IP address to a device, we have to assign IP, subnet mask and gateway as well. Okay, we have to assign these three values to any devices which assigning these three values is called IP configuration. If you see here, you'll see the gateway as well. Basically the default, the very first address or very last address of that network will be considered as, will be configured as gateway. Basically network admins will configure that as a gateway, very first address or very last address. Now if you go here, let's say we are taking an IP address from class C, 192.168. in this, the very first address is this one and very last address is this one. That means 255 devices, they can communicate together. And here if you see again, the very first and very last IP addresses will not be used, they will be leave access, not even gateway. 0 and 255, the very first and very last IP addresses will be used for different. This is for network ID segregation, this is for broadcasting, sending the traffic in that network. This will not be used at all. You have to always skip these two. Very first and very last you have to skip. After leaving this very first and last, what will be the next first and last? 192, 168, 0 dot, which is next? 1. And at the end, 192, 168, 0 dot, 254. These. So for gateway, we should consider these values. Very first and last means for gateway, we have to consider these two. 192, 168, 0.1 and 254. So basically network team will configure 1 or 254 as gateways. Some 80% admins will prefer 1. 80% network admins. It's up to them, like they can configure anything as a gateway. So 80% admins by default will configure 0.1 as gateway. As 80% admins will prefer .1 as gateway, it is easy for hackers to identify what is the someone else gateway. That's why few people will configure 254. Some 15 to 20% people. Okay, and that is also expected. If not 1, then will be 254. So that's why there is some chances like they will configure in between middle values also. That will be very rare. Some 5% people will prefer. Something like 0.10 will be gateway, like that. Okay. Only 5% chances, the random values, because to confuse the hackers, okay, like that. So fine, those security things and all they will take care. Just basic logic I'm telling you, which IP address will be used for gateways. 80% it 0.1 and remaining cases it will be 254. In our lab, that's why you see 0.1 as a gateway here. We also configured 0.1 because it's local network. Nobody directly connects here. That's fine. We are safe. So we configure 0.1. Subnet mask, IP address and gateway. Now understood what is IP address, subnet mask and gateway? IP address is a unique address that we need. Even though, like if you see in a network, something like an example, India is a one network. Even though there are different telecommunicators, I mean Airtel, Jio, Vodafone, whatever, like different network vendors, but India is considered as one network. Anywhere if you buy a SIM card, that number will be unique across India. It's because it's just one network. That number should not be matched anywhere in that network. Okay, so for us, like mobile number for a machine, it's an IP address. Once you assign an IP address to any device, let it be a virtual machine, physical machine, Windows or Linux, printer, whatever it may be, within that network, once you assign an IP address, that should not be used anywhere else within that network. Outside that network, again you can use. Okay, ఆ నెట్వర్క్ లో మాత్రం ఒక ఐపీని ఒకసారి యూజ్ చేయాలి. Okay, we should not repeat that IP anywhere else again. We know what will happen if someone else has same mobile number like you in India, right? The same thing happens in the network also. So IP address is always unique. Okay, unique means every device should have the dedicated IP address. Then subnet mask and gateway can be same. Subnet mask refers to which network it belongs. So it should be same for these two devices. Otherwise, they will not communicate. Subnet mask, even though if you have a class A IP address here and class A private IP here, if subnet mask is different, they will not communicate again. Because subnet mask refers that which network it belongs. ఈ సబ్నెట్ మాస్క్ ఇక్కడ వేరే ఉంటే ఇది వేరే నెట్వర్క్ ఈ మెషిన్ ఏమనుకుంటుంది ఈ నెట్వర్క్ వేరే ఈ నెట్వర్క్ వేరే అప్పుడు ఎలా కమ్యూనికేట్ అవుతుంది కేబుల్ ఉన్నా కూడా కమ్యూనికేట్ అవుతుంది ఓకే వెన్ ఎ సబ్నెట్ మాస్క్ ఈస్ డిఫరెంట్ they feel that they are different networks even though if it is connected with a cable they feel that they are in different networks they will not communicate the same way gateway as well gateway also must be same for the network devices which are in same network so something like from remote location different locations you connected to Mallikarjun you can turn off your video please okay so from multiple locations you connected to our class and I am speaking here right so the gateway the meeting ID which I have shared with you is a gateway okay the meeting ID that I have shared with you that's all like from remote location from different locations you entered from main gate to this classroom that is gateway here so we should know our entry or exit point for that our communication understood if you know the main gate how to enter into the classroom you enter then we communicate together if you don't know so you will not be able to communicate the same way gateway means entry or exit point of a network communication okay subnet mask and gateway must be same within a network and IP must be unique సబ్నెట్ మాస్క్ గేట్వే మల్టిపుల్ డివైజెస్ కి సేమ్ ఉండొచ్చు ఆ నెట్వర్క్ లో ఉన్న డివైజెస్ కి సేమ్ అవ్వచ్చు ఐపీ మాత్రం డిఫరెంట్ గా ఉండాలి okay now you don't need to worry where to get them if you join with a team there will be a network team they will help you to get these values you don't need to worry we should know how to assign to a device now how to assign an IP address to a ESXi machine because as we are VMware administrator okay and we should know how to assign an IP address to a Windows machine that is very basic thing Linux you don't need to worry if it is if you are from Linux background you might be knowing already our Linux guys should be knowing that for VMware administrator should be know at least for ESXi and Windows machine okay. Now we'll see that at least in our lab how to identify in a real time they will give you a separate team will provide you that IP addresses in our lab at least how to test like ping 192 just ping one random number when you're creating a virtual machine you need to assign one IP address right so 0 dot something like you ping 4 if it is not replying with TTL value destination host unreachable or request time dot that means it is not used you can use it if it is replying with some TTL value that means it's already allocated to some other device replying with TTL okay what happens when you do ping right ping space 192.168.0.120 before that I'll see if you want to assign an IP address to any device multiple ways are there from the command prompt type ncpa.cpl or run also you can do that and directly from network properties also you can reach and multiple ways are there select the adapter I have like different adapters on my computer you don't need to worry about them your laptop will have only one adapter okay if you are connected to Wi-Fi just Wi-Fi you can it's automatically go to the DHCP one okay another adapter will be there here right click properties IPv4 obtain IP address automatically or use following IP address anywhere any device like telephone printer Windows machine Linux machine ESXi if your watch is connected to internet okay, any device which is IP capable will have two options automatic IP address assignment and manual assignment automatic IP address assignment is called dynamic okay it is basically we will discuss during DHCP topic which is basically called dynamic which is automatically it will get an IP address static it's manual. Manually, we need to assign an IP address. Any IP capable device will have two types of IP configuration: dynamic or static, which is automatic or manual. Okay, here when you say IP address automatically, that is dynamic. It gets IP address from the DHCP server in that network. We will discuss about that topic later during advanced topic. The second one, here it's a manual, it's a static thing, that means manual. Manually we need to enter the value IP, subnet mask and gateway, which will be provided by your network team. Fine. Windows machine, this is the way. Either it is a virtual machine, physical server, Windows server or Windows client OS, whatever it may be, the same procedure. Okay. Go to run, type ncpa.cpl, local area network, right click on it, go to properties, IPv4 properties, and then use following IP address. Then enter IP, subnet mask, gateway, just OK, just OK. Okay, there are multiple ways to reach this IPv4 properties. So another thing also you can see this computer, right click, properties. Sorry, not from here, network here. Network, right click, properties. It will also go here, click on change adapter settings, it will go here, or you can go from here as well. Here normally the open network and internet settings, change here, change adapter properties, it will show. I'm connected to Wi-Fi, it will not show the normal this one. So multiple ways you can reach this configuration page. Okay, same page, they will navigate you to the same page. Okay, and now we'll see how to assign an IP address to a ESXi machine. Before that, we'll see. Let's say you have assigned an IP address to this machine, and how to verify it from the same machine. Open command prompt, type ipconfig without space. Remember, don't do this mistake again. Many people will give space after IP. Just type ipconfig from the command prompt. I will say ipconfig. So here it is displaying. There are multiple adapters. They are not connected. Only one adapter which is connected, Wi-Fi adapter, which is showing the values. Okay. IP, subnet mask, and gateway it will show. Fine. ipconfig will display you the IP address which is assigned to that machine. From that machine only you have to type ipconfig, command prompt ipconfig. Or else you can manually go to the same properties again you can verify. But once you are assigned this way, verify this way. You will confirm that whether that IP address has been accepted or not. Okay. If you verify, if you assign these values, that value will be there. If you go there and check, it will be there, but we don't know whether it is accepted or not. From command prompt, if you do, this is another method to retrieve the IP. So if it retrieves correct IP that you enter, that means it taken that address. Just a simple logic. Okay, verifying a different method. And now, once you assign, you have to verify the connectivity as well. Once you assign IP address, it's not only enough. Like let's say when you buy a mobile number, it is dedicated for you and it is activated. How will you verify? You'll make a call to your friend. First call, right? Basically, that's a verification. So here also we need to verify whether it is connected in the network or not. Very first time you have to test network connection. Open command prompt, type ping. What is this ping? Portable inter-network group. If you want more, like you can Google about like what is ping. Again, you need to go in depth about the IEEE, the networking protocols inside that. Portable inter-network group. Space, the destination IP you have to give. If you from the same machine, if you do this, ping space destination IP or name, whatever it is. Okay. So if you are sitting in this machine, I have the IP address. I have been assigned with an IP address called 118. If I ping the same IP address, it will always work because it is accepted from that machine to that machine IP address. It will always ping means it will show you the value like this. Once you type ping space IP, if it is replying with TTL value, that means there is a connectivity. That means this machine is reachable. But I am doing from this machine to this machine only, right? Sitting inside this, sitting in front of this machine, and I am testing this machine connectivity. Okay, it always works. You have to check any other machine in the network. That means up arrow, just it will give you the ping space, give any other machine IP address. 120. It's a different machine IP address. I know that machine IP, that IP address is used in our lab. I'm using enter. It is replying with TTL value. What is happening when you do a ping space the destination machine? From my machine 118, it is sending 4 packets of data. Sent 4 packets. Small packets of data, just like some default hi message. Let's say like that. It's not like exactly hi, just 4 empty packets will be transferred. It will be sent to that 120 machine. Once the 4 packets are transferred, destination machine will receive that packets and send back the same. Ping protocol is defined in such a way. It will send 4 packets, it will reach the destination, and same 4 packets will come back. That's how the IP protocols have been defined. At the same 4 packets again received on this machine. I'm doing a test from this machine, right? I have sent 4 packets and same 4 packets have returned to me back again. If there is no connection, these 4 packets will not come back again. Okay, they will be dropped somewhere in the network. If there is no cable, adapter is failed, or the server is shut down, they will not come back. They will be dropped somewhere wherever they are not reachable. ఆ కనెక్షన్ ఎక్కడ బ్రేక్ ఉంటుందో అక్కడ ఆగిపోతాయి, రిటర్న్ రావు. రిటర్న్ వస్తేనే మనకి కనెక్టివిటీ ఉంది అని తెలుసు. వన్స్ the packet transfer is received again on the same machine, you will see there is zero loss. 4 packets sent, same 4 packets received after meeting the destination. Okay, so that means there is a connectivity. This IP address is working, connected in the network, and this TTL value, time to travel, that time to send these 4 packets and come back, 64 milliseconds. Okay, so if blindly, if you just say ping, if it is replying with some TTL value, you say ping is working, that means it is connected in the network. ipconfig and ping test. Fine. Any question here? Clear? Yeah. Now we'll see how to assign an IP address to ESXi machine. After this we have already practiced. We have assigned an IP address to an ESXi machine yesterday, but we'll see again. Okay. On the console, like press F2, enter root user and password, then go to configure management network, then IP configuration, use static IP. There will be again two options, dynamic and static. Use static IP, enter IP, subnet mask, gateway, then enter. You have to press escape here. Remember escape letter, escape tab on the keyboard. Then letter Y to save the changes. You have to press letter Y on the keyboard. It will save the changes that you have applied on the ESXi config console. Then again escape. This is how we assign an IP to an ESXi machine. Fine, assign an IP address to an ESXi machine that we can test as well if you connect to our ESXi machine. We'll just test it out. I think somebody deleted that ESX machine. Yesterday we have created one machine, right? That's why deleted. It's okay. Yesterday we have seen that. So when you are creating ESXi machine, you follow this procedure. Yesterday only we did that IP configuration, but this is the path I'm giving. Okay. Once you assign an IP address, do a ping test from outside that network. From destination machine also we can ping here, or from here to we can ping any other machine also. Either way you can test. Fine. Any other question?